Hello, and welcome back to the LFR podcast, Live for Your Recovery podcast. My name is Maya, and today is a part two video of our back to school. If you didn't see part one, it's going to be up here somewhere. What we're going to be doing today is answering some comments from viewers, maybe some other questions if we have time, talk about some risk, reward, dopamine imbalances, just general stuff that goes along with going back to school. Make sure you stay tuned till the end of the video where we will be revealing who our special guest is for our next video. It's really exciting. I promise you're going to want to see it. So make sure you watch to the end, and I hope you enjoy the video. The first thing we're going to be doing is responding to a viewer question, which I'm so thankful for. Thank you so much, Jillian. She said, "Thank you both so much for sharing. Jacob, what advice would you give to me as a mother of a first grader struggling with the same things as you talked about?"
I would say to that person that was struggling with a first grader, don't settle for anything less than you want. Because it's your child, you know your child the best. Don't let the school think I know your child more than you, because you obviously don't. And I think you should start by talking to, like, not a lawyer, but somebody that's well educated in like the school system and special education. Yeah, I think. What are your thoughts on it, Maya?
I think that's definitely a great tip of advice, especially when it comes to like your child. It's definitely something you want to be wary of. But I also am a worker in childcare. So from my experience, you really want to make sure you're advocating for your child because every kid is different and no two kids are going to respond the same way to the same treatment or to anything. And a child care worker doesn't know a child's full history. It's impossible to know their full history and to know exactly how we should be reacting in these situations. So I'd say we try our best to respond with obviously gentleness and kindness. And however, it is really hard when there are kids that are dealing with issues and dealing with problems with other kids and conflicts. It causes a lot of disturbances, and it's really hard for me to see a kid individually struggling, and see them not getting the support that they deserve. And honestly, if you are even considering the fact that your first grader is struggling and wanting to help them, you are already doing better than a lot of parents out there, which is sad to say. But it's amazing that you're noticing it. And especially this young, people underestimate the intelligence of kids. 100%. Jake, would you agree on me with that?
Yeah, I would.
Do you feel like when you were younger, I always felt like I showed, sometimes I would show extreme emotions and it would be taken as like something different than what it actually was. And, they just didn't understand me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because people think my child that's 5 years old cannot comprehend what he's saying. They most definitely can.
But children are little sponges. And I know you hear that all the time, but they're smarter than you think. They act dumb, or they can't express themselves enough where they can, really show you what they're thinking, but I promise you their brains they're insane, honestly. They have a very curious, open mind. One thing I really wanted to include in the back to school in the back to school video is talk about the risk and reward systems in an adolescent's brain. And this applies very directly to substance abuse, but also to any regular kid growing up nowadays. The way that our world works, the kids growing up in it are kind of trained to have an addictive mindset in a way. They're always seeking more dopamine, and the brain is only thinking, how can I obtain more dopamine? And, one thing that I think really added to this mindset is phones, because every time you pick one up, phones, iPads, games, I mean, games have been around forever, but anything that is actively trying to gain your attention, like your phone, it sets up your brain for failure, just always looking for the next thing to make you spark that dopamine. The reason that I want to talk about this is because adolescents generally have less capacity to regulate their desires. They want something, they're probably going to get it if there's not much of consequence. Adolescents generally have less capacity to regulate desires, and that's because decision making is weighed by the potential reward of each choice. So, if you're given the choice between feeling good and feeling okay, we're usually going to go for the feeling good, just naturally as a human instinct. And the weight of consequences doesn't carry as well over to a teenager or adolescent sometimes, because all you're focused on is the reward. And this motivation comes from us wanting to experience new things. So, what all of these addictive things, temptations, all of that does is it basically messes up the chemical imbalance in our brain. The more dopamine that you experience, the more you end up needing, you know, even with anything. It's hard, it's easy to just blame everything on drugs, but people's brains really do have a natural tendency to be addicted to things and have obsessions with things. The other thing I wanted to throw in there was something called the window of tolerance. This is basically, I mean, it can be put in a lot of different scenarios, but think about it this way. It's how long you can sit there in your own thoughts before getting to a point where you feel like you need that some sort of dopamine hit to your brain, like picking up your phone and looking at it, just going and doing something, anything that sparks even a little bit of dopamine. So, what you want to work on ultimately is your window of tolerance. And I think that's a really important, it's kind of like patience in a way, but it's healthy for your brain. You know, our brains have almost began to rot because we aren't able to just sit in our thoughts and let our imagination take over. We need to occupy ourselves with an activity or something, just feeling that need for some sort of dopamine. And we don't realize that we're really doing it. But the longer that you can just sit in your thoughts and think to yourself, the better. One thing I really wanted to emphasize was the statement that adolescents generally have less capacity to regulate their desires. What that really means is that they're going to do something that may be a little bit unethical in order to obtain this reward that's seen as the desired thing. Someone might lie to get a little money and it might feel horrible, but it's It's that reward system part of your brain that just completely can take over. One thing that I would like to challenge you guys to do is try to increase your window of tolerance, whether it's with looking at your phone, hitting a vape, whatever it may be. I want you to challenge yourself to increase your window of tolerance because it's better for you. I mean, what can I say? If you're really struggling with cravings and all that stuff, I would recommend that you bring some sort of drink or a candy, and whenever you feel like doing that, take a bite of candy, take a sip of your drink. It gives you that hand to mouth motion, first of all, and second of all, it hopefully should give you that a small spark of dopamine, and I believe in you guys. So, I hope you enjoyed watching our video, and I really hope that you gained something from this. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it or at least got something out of it. If you would like to know more or ask us any questions, you can put that down below in the comments, and I promise you, we're going to respond to it. So everybody's voices is heard. Now to reveal our special guest, former Chief Justice of the New Hampshire Supreme Court, now Senior Director of Public Affairs at Dartmouth Health in New Hampshire. He's coming in to discuss his work with R.E.A.C.T Mental Health Awareness Campaign, which provides students throughout New Hampshire and Vermont with tips to deal with signs of emotional suffering and resources for support and help. We will also dive into his family journey with his son's mental illness, why he believes students have the ability to change the culture and the way mental health is viewed, and his book, Backroads and Highways, My Journey to Discovery on Mental Health, written by John T. Broderick. So, if you want to see us talk to him and interview him about his family and his journey and his struggles, stay tuned. I promise you, it's a really cool story. Subscribe down below, like the video. I promise you, it's something you're going to want to see. Have a good rest of your day.